It's going to be interesting for September, and maybe this could be a part of tomorrow's discussion. But like just a lot of the fears about September being the worst month. But there's some interesting statistics out there too that show that maybe September isn't going to be such a bad month. But I think there's also a couple of things that are out there that may cause a market sell-off. But there's so much liquidity out there that it's like, where do you put your money to work? And right now it seems to continue to be equities and stocks. And so it's hard to find a bear case right now.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I mean, there's still a lot of growth opportunities out there. I know people still have some concerns about inflation, potentially Delta variant. There's definitely things to keep an eye on. The truth of the matter is, and probably good from time to time for us to discuss this on our channel, is one of the main reasons why we try to look at stocks that are a little bit more reliable, longer standing, blue chip stocks that are at discount. So if they do come down, if there's sell-offs, rather than try to predict sell-offs, which historically, Brad, data, you can make numbers say whatever they want to say. If you want to go find out why September is going to be awesome, we can twist the numbers to say why it's going to be awesome. Every time the average temperature is above 90 degrees going into September, we tend to see the market run. So like there's always things that you can create. But, what we're really about is just keeping our money at play, making sure that we have cash on hand, continuing to just add in our monthly accounts. And then when the opportunities come, take them. Apple's not going anywhere. So if it has a down week, month, year, you add on to it. And we tend to try to look for those opportunities for the big boys. So we're not worried about, a company that's just not going to be around in 5 or 10 years.
Yeah. I mean, and this notion that everybody's waiting around for this market correction is kind of crazy, because even though the S&P, the Dow, the NASDAQ, I mean, the S&P saw another record high today, intraday. Even though they've continually moved up, we've seen corrections in areas of the market. I mean, we just got done talking about energy, about how that had a pretty decent pullback, 30% over the summer. And even, we've been talking about Amazon, Apple, and even Netflix, which made a monster move today as well, that corrected and are now moving back up. And those stocks are so heavily weighted in the S&P that even though we're seeing some pullbacks in some other areas, the S&P is going to continue to go higher just because of how much weight that they carry in that index. So I think that if we look at just the indexes themselves and try to determine a correction, it's nearly impossible. But when you look at certain sectors that have corrected, that's where you kind of look for areas of opportunity. And that's what we've done. We've gotten into energy. We've gotten into some of the reopening plays. I mean, we just got done talking about Penn. And so those are going to be the areas that you definitely want to look for to put your money to work instead of worrying about when this big overall correction is going to happen.
Yeah, that's a great point. I mean, there's stocks we've talked about time and time again that are still undervalued in our eyes. And so when you think about that, rather than trying to predict the overall market, which most people do a horrible job at. I don't know anybody who actually does a great job at that. Because if you think about the last couple of crashes, they're really almost impossible to predict. Yeah. And so when you look at the overall market, it might be challenging to predict a correction. And what for? You're trying to predict a 5%, 10% correction? Right. Well, there are stocks that one could say have 100% upside, 50% upside. We talked about Disney has at least 15, 20% upside, right? So if you're looking at from an industry perspective or even just an individual stock perspective that's lagging, there's tons of opportunity out there. There's tons of good companies that you can get on board with that should do well. And we've talked about them a lot. We bring them up in our daily watch list, which give this opportunity to shout out our daily watch list. Every morning we give out 5 stocks. We send out 5 stocks that we're watching, give a fundamental breakdown, a technical breakdown for free. So every Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. Eastern time, we send those out. If you guys are interested, click on the link in the description. It'll take you to onlychaos.com for that free link.